Good afternoon. As I reflect on George Marsden's The Outrageous Idea of Christian Scholarship, Dr. Roger Schultz's essay on Christianity in the American University, along with class presentations, provide a very good background for Marsden's work. Schultz points out how, from their beginnings, American colleges emphasized scriptural literacy, Christian moral principles, salvation through Jesus Christ, and biblical worldview. Americans held a common conviction that true education rested somehow upon a biblical foundation and Christian principles. Then things changed. Over the 20th century, colleges and universities abandoned or muted the spiritual and religious messages of their founders. Increasingly committed to liberalism, secularism, humanism, and statism, cultural elites grew hostile to biblical Christianity. Dr. Schultz and Dr. Samuel Smith further expound on this condition within academia in their discussion on interpretive trends in history by highlighting how current presuppositions are non-Christian or ambivalent or hostile to Christianity. As Schultz also notes in his presentation on ideologies of the left, the liberal orientation sometimes moves from liberalism to progressivism to radicalism. According to Dr. Sean Turchin, state universities claim to be open-minded and against all forms of dogmatism. In reality, they are against dogmatism that has its basis in Christianity. Marsden discusses this shift in higher education. According to Marsden, the taken-for-granted aspect of the Christian context has the paradoxical effect of inhibiting the development of explicit Christian perspectives. Because a broadly Christian outlook could be presumed, not much effort was made to relate Christianity specifically to what was being studied. In addition, during the first half of the 20th century, talk about the Christian character of the academic enterprise diminished as it was increasingly recognized that to identify the project with any one religious tradition would be divisive. Religion came to be regarded as essentially an extracurricular activity. In this context, Marsden's proposal is that mainstream American higher education should be more open to explicit discussion of the relationship of religious faith to learning. Marsden contends that the Christian faith can be of great relevance to contemporary scholarship of the highest standards. Therefore, the main point of his book is to provide some guidelines on the integration of the Christian perspectives in the mainstream academy. Perhaps the most significant guideline that Marsden offers is for Christians to not remain silent. According to Marsden, our dominant academic culture trains scholars to keep quiet about their faith. In his last chapter, Marsden says, what Christian scholarship looks like is evidence that a passive, low-profile approach is not making much impact. Individual Christians must respond. But more than that, the efforts of individuals in the universities will be lost unless their voices are concerted. A second guideline that Marsden provides is for Christian scholars to defend viewpoints with arguments and evidence that are publicly accessible. This line of reasoning very much falls in line with the fourth and seventh biblical worldview principles that the Liberty History Department maintains. Commitment to objectivity and honesty is essential to historical investigation, and the historian must be dedicated to a reasoned and investigated reconstruction of primary sources. A third guideline is that religious scholars should follow some version of the Golden Rule. Christians should be models of what it means to love and respect those with whom one differs, even as they debate their differences. Not only should Christian commitments lead one towards scholarly rigor and integrity, they should also encourage fairness and charity toward those with whom one differs. Finally, Marsden dedicates an entire chapter in discussing the integration of theology with scholarship, creation, the incarnation, the Holy Spirit, and the human condition. What stood out to me, since Christmas is just over a week away, is the incarnation. According to Marsden, one implication is that the supernatural and the natural realm are not closed off to each other. Christians who believe in the incarnation are then working within a framework of a universe that is open to spiritual phenomena that go beyond what people of all faiths or of no formal faith can agree on. Thank you very much.